Hey, Regicide. Hansel and Gretel today. This is one of the fairy tales collected by the brothers Grimm. The Grimms were linguists, people who study language in 1800s in Germany. And this is the story of Hansel and Gretel. Hansel is a German construct. It's like Little Hans. So, it's like if you call somebody Elizabeth, Liz, or Betty, or whatever, it's a shortening of the name. So, well, it's a nickname. So, Hansel is Little Hans, and Gretel is Little Greta. Anyway, brother and sister, Hansel and Gretel. And their father remarried, and the stepmother didn't like Hansel and Gretel. And money was tight, and food was short. So the stepmother said, "You have to send the kids out into the woods. We have to get rid of them. We can't afford to feed them." And Gretel overheard this. And she's like, "Oh no." And she stuffed her pocket with rocks. Stuffed her pocket with white rocks. And her father led Hansel and Gretel out into the woods. And every few steps, Gretel would drop a stone. And go a little bit further and drop a stone. Eventually, they had walked for hours. Father said, "Okay, wait here." And he left them with a loaf of bread. And he went away. And they waited there all night. And in the morning, Hansel and Gretel, who had huddled together for warmth, decided to head home. And they followed the trail of stones, picking them up as they went, till they finally got to the house. They're like, "Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. We're back." And the next day, the father took them out into the woods. But this time, Gretel didn't have enough time to get stones. But she had a loaf of bread. And as she went, she'd drop off a little piece of bread, leaving a trail of breadcrumbs along behind her. And she and Hansel ended up spending the night in the woods alone. But when they went to follow the trail back, birds had gone and eaten all the breadcrumbs. So they wandered through the woods until they saw this house made of candy. And they were like, "Oh, this is so awesome. We are so hungry and lost. And this is a house made of food." So they went up to the house and they started eating at it. And from inside came a old woman's voice. "Nibble, nibble, gnaw. Who's been eating at my house?" Hansel and Gretel were scared and started to run, and out came an old lady. She grabbed them, threw them in a cage in her house. She said, "I'll eat you up." Yeah, another story of eating up. Yeah, old fairy tales, kind of gruesome. But she decided that the kids, who were starving at the time, because, as I said, no food, no money, well, the kids needed to be fanned up, so she started feeding them. But she was kind of blinder than I am. I mean, you can see that I can't see well. Anyway, so she was kind of blind, and she'd say, "Stick your finger out." So Hansel would go and stick his finger out. Except Gretel was smart. She said, "Don't stick out your finger. Stick out this chicken bone." So he stuck out a chicken bone. The old witch felt the chicken bone. It's like, "Yeah, you're not eating enough. You need to eat more. Can't eat you yet." The old witch made Gretel do housework, clean, while she was fattening Hansel up. Going to eat Gretel later, but fatten up Hansel now. This went on for days and days and days. And finally, the witch just got tired of waiting, and Hansel was just like this butterball. She's like, "Okay, go push him in the oven." "Gretel, heat up the oven." Gretel's like, "I don't know. Is it hot enough?" The witch is like, "What do you mean, is it hot enough? Stick your head in." And it's like, "I don't know. I can't tell." What do you mean by stick my head in? Which is, get out of my way. Went over to the oven, stuck her head in. Gretel pushed her into the oven and locked it. This is the end of the witch. Hansel and Gretel. Gretel then freed Hansel. Two of them packed up stuff, started wandering. They happened to run into their father, who had been looking for them for weeks, and decided that he wanted them back. So Hansel and Gretel went back with their father, and everybody lived happily ever after. Kind of a grim story. Grim story. But very there's a whole bunch of things that you see, there's all sorts of Hansel and Gretel this and that. There's also breadcrumbs. The term breadcrumbs is often used in technology to describe if you leave a little marker in a whole bunch of different places so that you know what happened when. So breadcrumbs is a great term that comes out of this. Anyway, I hope you like this. Next time I'm going to talk about things that I do for fun.